example of gravity. When Zane throws the basketball up in the air, the ball goes back down to Earth because of gravity. Earth's attraction brings the ball down. Zane has a piece of paper in his hand. When he releases it, air resistance does not let the paper go down in a straight path, but more in a curved path. There are 4 types of friction. In this example, we have Jericho riding his bike, and the wheels and the concrete create rolling friction. Here's an example of sliding friction. When Isaac slides down the slide in his body creates sliding friction. Here's an example of fluid friction. When the basketball goes down, there is fluid friction. The final type of friction is static friction. Static friction is not seen very often. Here we have Jericho riding his bike again. When Jericho pulls on the handle, the clamps on the wheel stop the bike from moving. This is an example of braking. Isaac is going to show us the 3 types of acceleration. Here's one of them. When Isaac is speeding up, he is creating positive acceleration. When Isaac is changing direction, that is another type of acceleration. And when Isaac slows down, he is creating negative acceleration. Here is an example of Newton's first law. The basketball was at rest, and when Zane kicks the ball, the basketball goes in motion and stays in motion. Here is an example of Newton's second law. When Zane puts force on Jericho and his bike, Jericho and his bike go in the direction of Zane's force. Here is an example of Newton's third law. When Zane throws the basketball down onto the concrete as an action, the reaction is the basketball bounces up. Here is an example of centripetal and centrifugal force. When Jericho spins around the pole, his arm is a centripetal force, and once his arm lets go of the pole, his body is centrifugal force. Here is an example of momentum. When Zane pushes Isaac and his bike, the momentum of the push makes Isaac and the bike go forward. Here is an example of inertia. Here is Jericho riding his bike. He is moving at a constant speed, and is not changing speed. And this is an example of inertia. Here's an example of potential and kinetic energy. There's potential energy when Isaac is at the top of the hill with his bike. When Isaac goes down the hill, there is kinetic energy. Here's an example of free fall. When Isaac and Zane jump from the playground, they are falling down, which is free fall.
Whole bunch of potential energy. Whole bunch.